You are already dead. You just don't know it yet. The year is 1350, and the air you were breathing right now, the water pooling at your feet, the bread sitting on the table in front of you, every single one of them has already chosen a side, and it is not yours. Nobody around you is alarmed. Nobody is running, because in 1350, this is just the world. This is just Wednesday. Here are 5 reasons you would not survive a single day in 1350. The smell hits you before anything else. Not the smell of a city, something older than that, something that gets into your throat and stays there. The streets of 1350 are lined with the dead, and not because of a battle. There was no battle. There was only the plague, quiet and invisible and completely unstoppable, moving from body to body like a rumor that no one can trace back to its source. By the time you arrive, the Black Death has already consumed nearly half of Europe. Entire villages have gone silent, not the silence of sleep, the silence that follows the last sound a place ever makes. You do not have to touch anyone to become part of that silence. You only have to breathe. The bacteria travels through the air, through the flea on the rat that just tossed your shoe, through the hand of the merchant who pressed a coin into your palm at the market. Within days, the swellings appear, dark and hard and hot beneath your fingers, rising along your neck, under your arms, at the top of your legs. The fever arrives next, and survivors who lived to describe it said there are no words in any language that come close to what it feels like. Your skin bruises black from the inside. Your body becomes a place you no longer recognize, and the only people who come to your door are the ones carrying a cart, and they are not there to help you. They are there because they have done this so many times that they no longer flinch when they do it. But the plague is patient. It does not always take you on the first day. Sometimes it lets the water do it instead. The river running through the center of the city looks like water. It moves like water, but it has not been water for a very long time. Every tannery, every butcher, every household in the city empties into it. The bodies of animals that died in the night float through it by morning. Children play at its edge because no one has told them not to, or because the ones who would have told them are already gone. You drink from it because you are thirsty and because there is nothing else. And within hours, your body begins to reject everything inside it with a violence that leaves you hollow. Dysentery does not kill you dramatically. It kills you quietly, on the floor, in the corner, while the city outside keeps moving without noticing you have stopped. The people around you have watched this happen so many times that they have a word for it, and the word is simply Tuesday.
You find food. Of course you do, because your body is demanding it. And there's bread, and bread means survival. Except the grain has been sitting in a damp storage room for weeks, and the ergot growing inside it is completely invisible to you. It has no smell. It has no taste. The first sign that something is wrong is the burning in your hands. Not from fire, from inside, deep in the tissue, as though your blood has been replaced with something that does not belong in a human body. Then the world begins to change around you. The walls breathe. The faces of the people nearby shift into shapes that make no sense. You are not losing your mind. You are losing your blood flow. The ergot constricting your vessels, cutting off circulation to your fingers and toes, while your brain fills with hallucinations so vivid that you cannot find the edge between what is real and what is not. Entire villages in medieval Europe went mad this way. Physicians looked at the convulsing bodies in the streets and saw divine punishment. They were not wrong that something had gone terribly wrong. They were only wrong about who was responsible. If somehow you make it past all of that, a splinter will finish you. Not a weapon, not a fall from a great height, a splinter from a wooden door frame, a scrape against a stone wall, a small cut from a kitchen knife that you wrap in cloth and forget about. Because in your world, cuts heal. In 1350, a cut is an open door, and something is always waiting on the other side of it. There are no antibiotics. There is no understanding that invisible things are consuming your tissue from the inside out. The physicians of 1350 are not fools. They are working from centuries of accumulated knowledge, and that knowledge tells them that illness comes from imbalanced humors, and that the treatment is to bleed the patient, apply a poultice of dung and crushed herbs, and pray with genuine conviction that God will intervene before the body gives out. Sepsis moves faster than prayer. It spreads up your limbs in dark lines that the surgeons recognize, and their answer is the saw. No anesthesia, no sterile blade, just speed and the cold understanding that half the people on this table do not get up from it. The ones who do carry the memory of it in the place where their arm used to be, and then the cold comes. Winter in 1350 does not arrive gently. It arrives the way everything arrives in this century, without warning and without
mercy. You burn wood inside a room that was never built to breathe, and the carbon monoxide fills the space so slowly that you feel nothing, not even the moment when feeling stops. The families who survive the night wake up to wool that is never fully dry, to food preserved in salt and half-rotten before it reaches the plate, to bodies that are running low on everything they need to keep fighting. Malnutrition does not announce itself. It simply begins removing things quietly: your resistance, your warmth, your ability to heal the next small wound before it becomes the last one. And one morning, without drama, without a final word, your body makes a decision that you never agreed to. The people who lived inside this world were not fragile. They were forged from something most of us will never be asked to produce. They buried their children and rose before dawn anyway. They watched entire streets disappear and still found reasons to plant crops in the spring, because hope in 1350 was not an emotion. It was a survival strategy. It was the only one they had. But you, arriving from your world into theirs, carrying none of their immunities, none of their hard-won knowledge of which water to avoid and which silence means run, you would not reach sundown. Not because you were weak, but because the life you came from protected you from things that you never even knew existed. And in 1350, ignorance is not a disadvantage. It is a death sentence. The past was not simpler. It was not quieter. It was not a place anyone romanticizes after they truly understand what it cost to live there. And the only reason you are here, warm and breathing, watching this in a world that figured out how to keep you alive, is because every single person who came before you survived something that had no reason to let them go. They held on anyway for you.